This is a Pixar animated movie called La Luna, which is Italian for the moon. The opening scene is a beautiful starry night sky looking over the horizon of the ocean. A white boat drifts by with the name La Luna on it. There appears to be three people in the boat. You have the oldest gentleman with a very white, very long beard, a white sleeve shirt, suspenders, and a hat. It appears that his son is in the boat, who is in his mid to late 40s. He's got a brown giant mustache. He is wearing long sleeved shirt that is rolled up past the elbow with suspenders as well. And then his son is in the boat and he's in the same outfit as his dad. So we'll call them grandfather, dad, and kid to keep them in order. And the grandfather pulls out a blue package and gives it to the kid. He opens it and it's a hat, and he's very excited. And he puts the hat on. And then the grandfather and the dad flip the boy back and forth because they're arguing over which way to wear the hat. The grandfather likes the brim tilted up while the dad likes it down. Eventually they give up and the kid sits next to his grandfather. And it appears that they're waiting for something and the kid looks bored. To entertain himself, he starts mimicking his dad and grandfather. The dad brushes his arm across his mustache, and then the kid does the same thing against imaginary mustache. And then the grandfather scratches his ear, and then he scratches his ear, and then you see over the horizon a very bright shining light, and it is the moon rising up in the night sky. As this happens, the dad pulls out a comically long ladder out of an impossibly small toolbox, and the ladder reaches almost always to the moon. The grandfather hands an anchor to the boy, and he straps it to his back so he can climb the ladder. And then the kid climbs the ladder, and when he reaches the top, it appears that gravity has reversed to where he is pulled towards the moon as if the moon was the ground, and the sky is actually the ocean where the boat is. So everything is kind of upside down. The kid looks around on the surface of the moon. There are bright, shining stars that cover up the dark surface, and there's craters, and the craters are overflowing with the stars. There are so many of them. So the kid takes his anchor and he puts it in a crater, one of the ones that are overflowing with stars, and he anchors it down and put the stars over it so that it holds fast and doesn't go away. And then the kid looks up and there is a fallen star that landed on the moon, and he kind of ducks for cover. And when he comes out, he goes over, but he's careful not to touch the stars that are on the ground. When he touches the one that falls, the touch that he did on the surface rippled, and the ripple was very bright. And then the dad calls over the boy, and the boy comes over, and they have it appears to be a trash can on wheels that has different brooms on it. And the dad hands the son a push broom. Then the grandfather comes over with a regular broom and tries to get the boy to use the traditional straw broom. And then it kind of looks like that the grandfather and the dad are arguing over which broom is best. And then as they're kind of arguing over, they each kind of like prove it, and they'll push some stars out of the way that are on the ground. And then all of a sudden a bright light appears, and a giant star that looks hundreds of feet tall lands on the moon falls towards the moon, and they all duck for cover behind a crater. And then um, when they look over, the star landed on the moon. And so they're kind of trying to figure out how to push the giant star, and they can't figure it out. The boy remembers the star that he touched, so he climbs up onto the big star on one of its arms, one of the points of the star, and he kind of touches the star, and then he hits it on just the right spot, and the star explodes into a bunch of smaller stars. So then the three start sweeping up all of the stars that are on the moon. And you can see as they sweep up the stars, the moon gets darker. So it appears that the moon isn't what's shining, it's actually the stars on the moon. And when they're all finished, they clean up, go down to the boat, and they look up at their masterpiece, and it's the moon in one of its phases as the waning crescent. So it appears that the moon was never glowing, but the stars on the moon were. And the gentlemen pat the boy on the back to signify a good job, and they look up at their masterpiece, and the words La Luna scrawls over top of the sky.